Hi folks, so what we're going to be doing today guys is we're going to be doing 3D modeling, okay, on OnShape.com. Okay, it's a cloud-based software, very much like SolidWorks that is used in schools with 5th years and 6th years for their projects. Okay, but it's an online software. Okay, so all you just need to do is be able to use Chrome, okay, or some form of engine to run it. Okay, it obviously works best then obviously using it on a laptop, but it also works on a tablet or a phone. Okay, but obviously it'll just be a little bit more finicky. So for the purpose of this, what I'm going to be doing is using my laptop, okay, or desktop. The question we're going to be doing today, guys, is this one here. It's based off of an aeroplane, okay. It comes out of one of the textbooks. And as we can see here, the aeroplane has various measurements on it. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sketching that aeroplane, and then we're going to be making it 3D by extruding it, okay. So we'll start off with a 2D sketch and then extruding it. So some of the tools we'll learn with today are the line tool. We can see inside in here we've got this line in here, which is a center line. Okay, so that's going to be a construction line as well. So we're going to have a line tool, a construction line. We're going to use dimensions, and we're also going to use mirror as well. And then finally an extrude. So about 4 or 5 kind of tools there we're going to practice with today, guys. So with that, guys, I'm going to go back here. And what you do then is you can type in www.onshape.com. Okay, that'll bring you in here. And at this point, you should have all set up your own account with your own email address, the school email address specifically. So you click on sign in. We'll wait for it here. And then you're going to use your school email address. You're going to sign in. Okay, and we click on the sign in option down here. And that's going to bring you into this little window here. And as you can see, guys, that is one that I have done already as an example. Okay, I have some other kind of models down here that I've been practicing with. And what we're going to do is we're going to be building that. Now, the last day, guys, I spoke to you about basically setting it up with the preferences. So if you go up here and you haven't already done so, you can click on this. If you click on your name and click into my account, it's going to bring you to this window here. And if you click down here on preferences, and in preferences, make sure under units that you have millimeter. For angle units, you have degree. Okay. For mass units, you have gram. And for time format, that's your own choice. Okay. But make sure these ones here are millimeter, degree, and gram. And then you can set these to 2 decimal places, 2 decimal places, and 1 decimal place here. And when you have them done, make sure and save your changes. And then down here under mouse controls, make sure that it is under SolidWorks and not OnShape default. Okay. And if it's OnShape default, select SolidWorks, and then once again, save your mouse controls. Okay. At this point, guys, I'm going to go back here to my home screen, so you can click on this icon up here at the top left. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by creating. Okay. So I'm going to explain this, guys, using some of the tools and some of the skills that we're going to help us going forward. So starting off, always up here, click on create and select document. Okay, and now straight away it's going to ask you to name your project. Okay, so as you can see here, previously I've already labeled it airplane exercise when I was practicing myself. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to say OnShape aeroplane. Okay, you can call it whatever you want. Okay, you can say my airplane or anything like that. That's just what I'm calling it, and I'm going to click OK. When I click OK, it's going to bring me into the workspace. Okay, and this might look confusing at first, but don't get too confused by it. Okay, what you have to understand is the space inside here. You have various planes in here. You have the front plane. If I select that, you can see it goes all orange. Select left mouse click anywhere on the screen, that will turn off. Select the top plane. You can see there it turns orange. Okay, select anywhere on the screen again, left mouse click, it will turn off. And then left mouse click, it's always left mouse click here, guys. Select anywhere on the screen, that'll turn off. That's me just highlighting them. Other ways to highlight them are literally coming over here. This area here is your design tree. Okay, I could select the top plane, front plane, right plane. You can see they're all selected there. Okay, and we've got this little guy in here which is called the origin. I'm going to turn all of them off now. And this guy in here, if I select him, you can see him there. That is called the origin. The origin is essentially where all of those planes meet. Okay, it's kind of the center of all of that. Okay, now the next thing we have to know is we can move around our screen. So if you press down on the mouse wheel, okay, and hold down on the mouse wheel, okay, you can see here I'm pressed down on the mouse wheel, I haven't let go, and then move my mouse around, you can see I can rotate whatever object we're going to have inside here. Okay, Now, sometimes you can get a little bit confused on where you are, okay, and you might have mixed it all up, okay. What you can also do then is to get that back to normal, you can come back up here, and you can see the top surface up here, okay. So I could hold down the mouse wheel kind of up here to rotate this into position. Okay, there's the front, and as you see, once I clicked on the front, it's after bringing up what would be the front plane for me. Otherwise, as we know, as the vertical plane, okay, which is where our elevation views go. If I rotate it around to the side, okay, we might have an end vertical plane, okay, on the left or the right, okay. So I'm actually rotating this around, guys, by literally once again pressing down on the mouse wheel. Now I could also use these icons up here. You can see if I click on the arrow, it literally is just going to keep twisting it, okay. Alternatively, I could use the keypads on my keyboard, okay, by pressing up, okay, or down, or left, or right, okay, and it does the same thing, okay. And then I can also select, you can see here, these corner buttons, okay, and that will kind of bring you into an isometric view of them all, okay. Also, we have this kind of option over here, okay, so this little box here, camera and render options, it says. So if I select that down arrow, it's going to bring up these for me. So I'm going to select isometric, and you can see it's kind of brought me back to the very start where I originally was. Okay, diametric, you can see it changes a little bit, and trimetric once again. Okay, and then down here we're going to have zoom to fit. So let's say at some point while you're working on your project, okay, let's say by using the mouse wheel we can rotate in and out. So if I rotate the wheel backwards, I bring the object closer. If I rotate the wheel forwards, okay, I zoom it out. So zoom in, rotate the wheel backwards, zoom out, rotate the wheel forwards. Now you can notice as well where I held the cursor. The cursor of the mouse is over the center of where we're going to be drawing. If I held it over here and I rotate it forwards, you can see here it's kind of going out of shot, okay. And if I move up here, watch, I'll probably end up losing it. You can see it down here, and look, eventually it's gone. And you're kind of going, oh, where's my project? Very simple. You could do it two ways. You can come back in here and you can click on zoom to fit, and that'll bring it back into focus. Another way you could do it, and I'll get that out of shot again, okay, pull it away. Another way you could do it is also on your keyboard, you could just press F. If you press F, okay, that would bring it back into fit, okay, once again. So there's two ways of bringing it back in, just in case you lose your work. Now, for the purpose of today, guys, what we're going to do is, if I just go back to my sketch here, we can see we've got the object in here, okay? And what we're actually going to be drawing on is like the bird's eye view, looking down on top of it, okay? It's like we're looking down on top of a plane there. So for the bird's eye view, we have to select the right plane to draw on, okay? A plane is a flat surface that we're going to sketch on. So looking at these three planes here, we've got the front plane, okay? That's usually where the elevation goes. So we're not going to use that. So I'm going to go over here and I'm actually going to turn my front plane off. You can see here it's the eyeball. I'm going to select that eyeball and there's an arrow or a line going through it now, and you can see it's gone from here. Okay, it doesn't mean it's not there, it's still there. You can see if I hover over it, it's still there. But I've just kind of hidden it from view so it doesn't confuse me. Okay, my right plane, I'm going to turn that off as well. Okay, by literally selecting this. And the top plane, okay, is the one I want to draw on. Okay, so I'm going to leave that on for a moment, and I'll also leave my origin on as well. Okay, so the top plane, which is where the bird's eye view is going to go. Now, at this moment in time, it's in an isometric view, so we want to look straight at it. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click top. And now you can see it's like it's after coming up on a page. It's like we have our page in front of us to sketch on. Okay? Okay, now at this point, guys, we have various tools up here. These are kind of our 3D modeling tools here. But before we get onto any 3D kind of modeling, okay, and we'll learn about these eventually, before we get onto any of them, what we're actually going to have to start with is a sketch. Okay? So if I click on the sketch icon there, okay, this little box is going to open up here. And you can see here it's saying select a sketch plane. So we need to select a plane to sketch on. Okay, and as I said, I hid these planes here, the right plane and the front plane, and the one I didn't hide is the top plane. So that's the one I want to sketch on starting off. So I'm going to select top plane. And you can see it's after coming in here now. And what you'll actually see is another box is after coming in that says sketch number 1. And if we come over here to our design tree, that's sketch 1 there. Okay, so I'm going to start sketching now. Okay, and I'm going to start off by putting in, sorry there, go back in here, and I'm going to put in a center line. Okay, so we can see that little red center line there. I'll just bring this into a little bit more focus now. So that red center line there, I'm going to put that in. And first of all, I want to know how long it's going to be. So we can see here it is 60 plus 35 plus 30 plus 20. So all of that added up together adds up to 145. So I need that center line to be 145 millimeters long. Okay, so I'll come back in here and I'm going to come up here, and now that I've selected sketch, I've got some new sketch tools up here that are available to me. If I click the down arrow, you can see that there's more options on some of them, okay? But the one I want to use is a line, okay, starting off. So I'm going to select line, okay? And as you can see, after selecting it, okay, it's after highlighting blue, okay? And you'll see my cursor has changed as well, okay, to this little cross. Now, the first line I want is actually a construction line. So anytime I want a construction line, I'm actually going to come up here, and you can see if I hover over it, it says construction, this little icon here. So I'm also going to select that, okay? And now you can see we have line selected and construction. So when I draw a line, I'm going to now hover, okay, over the origin, which is this little point in here. Now I'm only over the origin exactly, as you can see, when a little square is going to come around it there. So that little square means I'm over the origin. So now I'm going to left click on my mouse once and let go, and then drag away. Okay, and as you can see there, we are able to do a line in any direction. Okay, we can do a line up vertically at an angle, it doesn't matter. And you can see the length or the dimension of it, the length of it is coming up as well. So at this moment in time, it's saying 45.07. Okay, I want to do the line going from left to right across my screen. So in this direction over here. Now, and I know I want it to be 145 long, so I'm just going to zoom out there a little bit so it kind of comes in about the right size. Okay, so it's about 143 there. Now, it's very important. You can also see just to the bottom right of my cursor, I've got a little horizontal line there. That is what's known as a relation, okay? And what that means is I am perfectly horizontal. If I move up a little bit, you can see it goes. If I drop down and I come back, it'll map onto it and it'll give you a guide that it's horizontal. So I'm happy with that there. It's 144.62. I'll click, okay? And now, once again, I left click there. You can see I still have a line that it wants me to do that. And sometimes people click, 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 and you don't want to do that because you're just going to make a load of lines that we don't want. So to save you doing that, if you come to your keyboard and press the escape button, which is at the top left, it's ESC, the line will go away. Okay, so that's the first step we've done. We've done a line. Now I'm going to press F, which is going to bring it back into focus on my screen. And now what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to hide the top plane now, so it doesn't confuse me anymore. Obviously, I just left that there just so we could see what we were going to have to sketch on originally. Now I'm going to come back here. You don't have to turn it off, but I'm going to turn it off because I think it'll help me, okay? So I'm just going to hide it. So the top plane is hidden now, and you can see the only one we have is this plane here, which is our sketch 1, okay? Now the next thing we're going to do is we have to do a dimension. The dimension tool is up here. So you can see it there, it's with two little arrows, and I want to create a dimension. So I'm going to select that now. And as you can see, that's gone blue. So at this point, I want this line here to be 145. So if I hover over the line, you can see it's after highlighting there. If I left mouse click once, let go, and then drag up, and I'm going to actually drag down in this case, okay, and click again, left mouse click, and you can see here now it wants me to enter a value, okay. So I'm going to put in 145. That's 145 even, and you will see also the line actually has gone from blue to black, okay? That means it's fully defined, okay? So now the next thing that we have that center line done is, sorry there, it keeps going away. What we are going to do now is we are going to draw in half of our aeroplane, okay, roughly, using the line tool. So starting here, I'm not going to draw in the full thing, because I'm going to use mirror later on to help me do that. But I'm going to draw in half of it. So I'm going to do a line straight up, a line horizontal across, down at an angle, cross, up, okay. I'm going to do that roughly as best I can, okay. So if you need to come back and have a look at it, that is no problem. I have an idea of what it is in my head, so I'm going to have a rough guess at that, okay. So now, I'm going to come up here to my line tool. I'm going to select that again. Make sure I'm not on construction, okay, because I want a heavy line now this time. So I'm going to hover over this point here. Once again, once the square is around it, you know you're good. Left mouse click, and I'm going to drag up. And as you can see, I've got the little vertical relation beside it, just to the bottom right of it. If I move this way, it goes. and I know it has to be about 30 millimeters up, okay? So I'm going to go, if that's close enough, I'm happy with that. Click once. Now I'm going to drag out this way, okay? Make sure it is horizontal. So once again, look at your relation, just make sure it's horizontal. Click once again. And I'm still held onto it, okay? You can see I'm still just drawing lines here, okay? I'm going to drag down here, kind of at an angle. I don't know is it perfect. I'll come back and I'll fix that after, but I'll click again. Now I know it comes over here a certain distance, okay, to the wing. I'm going to click again. I know the wing comes back a little bit, like this. So I'll click again. And I know it goes horizontal again. So make sure you can see there it's kind of mapping onto the point underneath, okay? That's almost adding relation. So try not to do that if you can, okay? So you can see here I've kind of picked the distance that I'm happy with. It's not mapping onto anything. Left mouse click again. Now I'm going to drag down here. And now at this point I'm happy for it to map onto the height of this. Because I know if I went back to my drawing, it is at the same height as that, okay? So I'm going to click again there. Now I'm going to drag out here. And at this point, I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit. So with my mouse wheel, okay, I'm going to zoom in. So by rotating the wheel backwards towards me, okay? And at this point, I know it kind of tapers down. It doesn't go horizontally across. It kind of comes down at an angle. But we want it to stop in line with that. So the way to do that is, okay, I could have a guess there. And as you can see, it's after mapping onto the line now. If that's not mapping onto the line to you, you can hover over this point and then drag back up. Okay, so that's what I want to do. I want to hover over this point. You don't have to if it maps onto it, but if it doesn't, you can. And click there, and then finally click. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom to fit by pressing F there. Now, as you can see, if you look at that sketch that I've done there, and I go back to my PowerPoint here, you can see that that is roughly half of what I have done. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to start inputting dimensions. So the first dimension I started off, if you remember, our origin was here. I measured up here, this is 10 millimeters because that's 20 there, but half of it is 10. So it's 10 plus 20, so it's 30 high, 10 across, okay, we can see the 10 there, and then this angle between this line here, that line there, and this line here is 30 degrees. So they're the first ones I'm going to do. I'm going to set up 30, 10, and 30 degrees. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back in here and do that. So once again, we're going to go to our dimension tool up here. I'm going to highlight that. You can see my line one has gone off. And what I'm going to do is, like we did with this line, I'm going to click on this line, click once, left mouse click once, and let go, and drag out, click again. And you can input on your keypad 30, enter. Now that's 30. And you can see this after turning black. Now I'm going to select this line, and this needs to be 10. So once again, left mouse click once. I'll just pull it out here. You can see I can actually move the dimensions around. You can keep it in the middle, but I'm going to put it in here so I can see it neatly. Click again. 10, enter. Now, to do an angle, what you're going to have to do is, you can see here I was only selecting the one line. I need an angle between this line and this line. So in this case, I'm going to select this line once, left mouse click once, okay? And you have to make sure if you want an angle, you can see here it's asking for a dimension, a length, okay? If you want an angle, after you select this line, you have to also select this line and make sure it's highlighted. And once I select that line as well, you can see it's after giving me an angle. And you can see here it says 36.73. I want that to be 30. 30, enter. And as you can see, the model is kind of changing with it as well. Okay. Now, the next job we have is, if I just go back to my measurements, okay, the distance, okay, between two lines, or between a line and a point. We can see here it's 60, okay? See that 60 there? That's the distance from the tail of the aeroplane, which is this line here, to these points here. This point and this point, okay? Where the wings start. So the distance from the tail to where the wings start is 60. And obviously we know as well, another dimension I'll quickly put in also is the distance between the center line that we put in previously at the very start and this line here. If we do a little bit of maths, we can work out that that distance there is 10. So 60 from here to here. The angle of the wing is 75, okay? And then the dimension in here is 10. So I'm going to put in those three now. So I know the dimension. I'm still on my dimension tool. If you're off it, just make sure and click it again. I'm going to select this point because that's where the wing starts. And now I'm going to come over here and select the line. And you can see it's after giving me a dimension between the two of them. And I'm going to make sure, and I'm going to call that 60. click again, 60, enter. And you can see the wing is after coming back a good bit. Now I'm going to dimension between the center line, okay, and this line here, and I know that needs to be 10. So I'll select this line down to this line, and at this moment in time you can see here it's saying it is 8.03, so I'll click in here and I know that needs to be 10. And you can see it's after jumping up a bit. And now the last one, we have an angle in here that was at 75 degrees. So I'm going to click in here and click in here, click 75, always left mouse click, and you can see here that's after defining as well. Now let's say I made a mistake with that and it was meant to be 70 degrees. What you could do is you could double click on the icon, okay, in here, double click it, and it'll allow you to change the degrees. But obviously, so look, I could do 70 and enter, and you can see it's after changing, but I know it's meant to be 75, so I'll double click again, and that is 75. And we can see the wing change with that. Now, I can go back and I want to check on some more dimensions. So, the next little bit, it doesn't give us a dimension up here, okay? So, the next thing I'm going to check is, okay, we have the height here. It's telling us from the side of the airplane, this bit here, up to the tip of the wing is 60 millimeters. And also the angle of this portion of the wing is 60 degrees. Okay, so that's the next bit we're going to focus on. It's 60 millimeters high and 60 degrees here. Oh, sorry, and the last bit actually, the space between the back of the wing and the front of the wing, that distance there we can see down here is 35. So they're the measurements we need to remember this time. 35 between the two parts of the wings, the back and the front. 60 high and 60 degrees is the angle. Okay, so come back in here, and once again I'm on my dimension tool. I'm going to select this point and this point. And you can see here it's after giving me a dimension at the moment, mine is set 40.98. So I'm going to select that and click, and it should be 35. And now I'm going to select the distance from here, and it doesn't matter, I could select here or I could select over here. I'll select this one, and I'm going to click 60. 60, enter. And then finally, the last one is we want an angle. This line here, we want it to be 60 degrees, okay? So there's a couple of ways you could do this. You could do a bit of maths. You know we have a straight line here, and if the angle here was meant to be 60, the angle out here was meant to be 120. Another way you could do it as well is just to use the angle, we have a straight line here that we could do it off as well. Because that line there is meant to be 60 degrees to any horizontal line. So this is a horizontal line, so we'll use that. So I'm going to select this line here, and I'm going to select this line, and you can see here it's saying 62.68, and I'm going to click again, left mouse click, and then 60, enter. And that's that part done. And as you can see, as we're going along, the whole object, now we've obviously got various dimensions inside here. I'll just zoom out there so you can see it a little bit better. But even though those dimensions are in there, don't let them confuse you. Just follow the lines and we can see the lines of the object, okay? And up to this point here, it's fully black, okay? And we can see the last bit here, if I zoom in, we can see this bit here is blue. So we're not fully defined yet, okay? Now, what we're going to do is the last bit of measurements here. So I'm going to go back to my drawing on this. And this portion from this point here, you can see it here, is 30 millimeters, okay, from there to there. Okay, so this bit here is 30 because we're working on the top half. And then the last bit down here, guys, is the angle here that this comes down at. We can see it's telling us is 15 degrees. Okay, so that bit there is 30 from there to there. Obviously, it's 20 left over, so that should take care of itself. But the angle is 15 degrees. The kind of nose of it is kind of tapering in at an angle of 15 degrees. So that's a little bit awkward to do, but I'll show you how to do it. So the next dimension, as we said with this one here, is 30. So I'm going to select the line, drag up and click 30, enter. And now I'm going to zoom in here. This is at the nose. So to zoom in, guys, I'll go back here. I'll just go zoom to fit by pressing F. Or I could have just done zoom to fit here. But to zoom in on this, if you want to zoom in on a portion of your drawing, you can hover over that portion you want to zoom in on and then rotate the wheel back towards you. Okay? So I know the angle I want in here. Okay, if you put an imaginary line there, you could do a construction line, but we want an angle of 15 degrees. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to select this blue line, click once, and you can see it's obviously giving me a length, and then I'm going to click on this line here. And if you click on this line as well, what I'm actually going to do, okay, is I'm going to drag out this way. You can see here, if I drag out here, that's not the angle that we want, okay? That's saying like 191.37 degrees. So what we're actually going to do is, as I said, click on this line. I'll escape it there again just to start once more. Go back up to my dimension. And I'm going to select this line, and just make sure you drag out in the right direction. That's not correct. That's not correct. But if I drag over here, you'll see it's giving me a kind of a dimension off the horizontal line. So that's the one we want. So click there, and I'll go 1, 5, enter. And there you go. You can see it's after turning fully black. This bit here is black as well. Now we know we are fully defined. Okay, so I'm going to zoom to fit there. And you can see it's coming in the screen. I'll zoom out a little bit more. I think it's a bit neater. Okay, that's half of our drawing done there. Now, at this point, let's say you were happy, okay, and you wanted to take a break, okay, come back to it later. Do not press this X here. If you press that X, what it's going to do is it's going to actually delete your drawing. So what you're actually going to do is click on the tick. And when I click on that tick, you can see here all my dimensions have gone, okay? And my kind of drawing has grayed out, okay? It's kind of gone all grayscale. You can still select the lines and stuff, but it's after going all gray. But if I want to actually go back in there and edit that, okay, remember that was actually called Sketch 1, which we can see over here in our design tree, okay? I could hide it, watch once again, and you can see my sketch is hidden. But if I hover over it, it's still there. I'm obviously not, I don't want to hide it, so I'll click on the icon again. And what I want to do is I want to go back and edit that. So anytime you want to, if you go out of your sketch, but you want to go back in to edit it, you can double click over here. And this brings us back in. Okay, and you can see obviously here we're on the sketch pen again. So at this point now we're going to learn about another tool, and it's called the mirror tool. So far we've used line, we've used construction, and we've used dimension. Okay, the next one we're going to learn about is the mirror tool, and it's this one here. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to copy the top half and basically paste it down to the bottom half by mirroring it over. Okay, so I'm going to select this line, the mirror tool here. Click that. And what it's telling me to do is select a mirror line. And if you remember at the very start, the line that's technically in the middle of our object is this guy here, the center line. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to select that as my mirror line. Now it's telling me select entities to be mirrored. Entities means basically select the items that you want to copy over and mirror over to the other side. So I want to copy all these dark lines here. So I'll start with this guy and I'll work my way along. There's the tail. You can see he's after coming in down here. I'll finish off the tail. You can see I literally click one by one, and you can see it's literally populating all at once. I'll go zoom to fit so you can see it fully there. And I'll zoom out a little bit. Now the next bit, you can see I need a bit coming down over here. So I need this one. Then I need this one. I need this one. Okay, and now at this point, I'll zoom in here to make sure I get it. Click this one. And then to close it off, because it's still open, it looks like it's closed there, but it's not. We have to select this line, and you can see there the minute I did that, the kind of drawing has kind of all colored in a light gray color. That means basically my whole drawing is now fully closed. Okay, there is no open gaps in it. Okay, it is fully closed within itself. At this point now, okay, we actually have the drawing complete. So I'm just going to click over here. You don't have to, but I'm going to go over here to this view. And I selected that. Okay, I picked probably a funny one there. But as you can see there, okay, in the isometric view that we have, all right, I'll just make sure it's in isometric. So there's the isometric one, sorry, that I wanted. But as you can see there, guys, in that isometric view, we have now completely closed our object and we've got our drawing done, okay? So at this point, we want to actually make it a 3D object. And this is the last one we're going to learn about today, okay? So to actually make this a 3D object, what we want to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to click on this here. This is kind of one of your 3D tools and it's called an extrude. Okay. Once I select that, you can see what's going to happen is basically the face plane that I've selected, okay, because I was already selected on that, it's after coming up. And you can see here we've kind of got an object now. Now, I can extrude that at this moment in time, it's saying 25 millimeters. I can change that here. So I'll make it 10. I press enter. Now you can see it's after getting smaller. Alternatively, another way you could do it is you grab this little handle here where we have the arrow. You could click and hold, drag it up. You can see it will come up to it. That's obviously a little bit too big. So we can come back down. Okay. Another way, as I said, is you can come over here. And what you're going to do is, I would think 15 millimeters is an appropriate height there. Okay, if you wanted to do 12.5, absolutely fine. It is your choice. Okay, whatever works best for you, basically. So at this moment in time, I'm going to stick with 12. I'll actually leave it on 12.5, and I'm going to accept that by clicking out here in the open space and click on the green arrow. And there you can see, guys, at this moment in time, that is the drawing done. Now, sorry, not the drawing done, the model completed. Now, you'll also see as well, a lot of these lines that are coming up here at the moment in time, we can actually see a lot of the hidden detail, okay? So that actually comes down to our viewing options over here. So I'm going to come over here to this little icon, and we can see here, if you see it's saying shaded, okay? Now, sometimes you can say just shaded without edges, okay? And that's after getting rid of the dark lines, okay? And I'd say the reason that's actually showing is because my sketch is activated. Yes, there we go. Sorry, that's my bad. So if I go back here and I left on my sketch, I'm going to put on shaded here, and it's going to come in with edges. And my sketch there, because it's showing, okay, I can actually hide that sketch, okay, by clicking on this. And there we go. Now there's our model, okay? And we still have the origin on. I could hide that as well if I wanted to get rid of that little dot there. Doesn't bother me though, okay, so I'll just leave it on. But if I select this window here, you can see we have shaded. I've shaded without edges, and watch what happens here. You can see all those kind of definitive edges, that dark line edges that it was showing, have gone. Then we also have shaded with hidden edges. And you can see now we've actually got all the hidden detail, okay, in a kind of a lighter line. The next one we could go is hidden, edges removed, okay, and then it's probably hidden, edges visible. Okay, so there's just some of the kind of viewing options that you have then. Translucent, okay, it's kind of like a glass-like color where you can kind of see through it, okay. The one I often leave it on though, and I think is the best, is just the original shading. Okay, that is your first exercise, guys, that I am giving you to do. Okay, I hope you found that helpful. When you have that done, okay, there's no save icons or anything like that. Literally, if you just leave here, okay, you can also change the name up here. I forgot to mention that to you, okay. If you wanted, you could edit the name in here while it's done, okay. But while that is done, all you have to do is you can select this icon up here, okay, and what it will do is it will bring you back out to your home workspace. And as you can see there, I have now got the OnShape aeroplane that I have previously just done now. Okay, that is your first exercise, guys, and try and have that done for next Friday. Okay, I hope you found that helpful, guys. I'm just going to be logging off there now. All right.